Every damn day.
Hey everyone, it's Jerry at the Fledge, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 6 of Every Damn Day. Thank you for coming today. And we've got a guest that I'm very excited for, and all of you will know why as soon as I bring him on and he starts talking. But before that, I want to just mention a couple things that are happening around here. One is going on right now from 12 to 2 up in the Fledge is our crypto ecosystem meetup. So if you want to learn about NFTs, decentralized autonomous organizations, different types of crypto coins, including the Fledge coin, please come out to one of our meetups. They're drop in and drop out whenever you want. So you can show up at 1 o'clock after the show if you want. And the other thing is I have postponed tonight's 99 Problems But a Pitch Ain't One and the concert that was scheduled for tomorrow. Both of them for COVID related reasons. So please be careful out there. Please get vaccinated. Please mask up. Please do the things that help us protect the community. And you know my position on that. And then the other thing is the youth STEM program that we are starting, the science, technology, engineering, and math, but also to us, it's the entrepreneurial part of what we're trying to do with Lansing students. Please look at the Fledge's website or the Fledge Facebook page for the sign-up sheet for two things. One, if you got a student in Everett, Eastern, Sexton, Gardner, or Dwight Rich, they are eligible if they have a business idea. Let's get them registered and let's get them working on their entrepreneurial journey. The other thing is we need mentors for the program. So we also have the mentor sign up. You do not have to be an expert in business or anything that you might think. Everybody, as the show is proving, has a story to tell and an expertise in something. And what we're really looking for is somebody with a passion to help kids. So if you care about the kids that are going through a lot of rough things right now in all of our different cities, from virtual school to the gun violence we're seeing in Lansing to just the pressures of poverty here in Lansing, and then COVID laid on top of it is just an even bigger mess. So those are a couple things that I wanted to make sure you all knew about, and check out the Facebook page or the website. And don't forget that we are broadcasting every damn day on Spotify every day now. So this episode today will also publish out there at 4 p.m. today. So with that said, I am going to bring on my new friend, Trey. How you doing, Trey?
I'm doing all right.
Man, you have a snow day today. How much snow did you guys get?
It doesn't look too terrible. Like we did get a good amount of snow. It's more just like the wind and just it's so cold out there.
Yeah.
And it's just like not letting up whatsoever.
So we got some kids in the background. That's pretty awesome. I always tell people that adds to the richness of the show.
Yeah, I got Lilith. She's almost about to be 7 months next week, and then I have a 5-year-old named Delilah, and they're both just a trip and amazing.
Of course they are. I've got, I was telling you before the show, I've got 4 grandchildren, and the first girl, her name is Liliana.
Oh, nice.
And I'm trying to get us to trademark Little Lil as her rap name someday.
Nice.
But no
Perfect.
one will go for it. So
they're just trying to set up a future for her,
Yeah. Let's jump into you a little bit.
Okay.
I guess the question is, what's your story?
Grew up small town South Haven, about 3 hours from you. Huge tourist town, not a whole lot to do. Grew up skateboarding and all that stuff. I'm in recovery, so kind of stereotypical broken home, that kind of blah blah blah. Fell into the wrong crowd, drugs, alcohol. My biggest thing was I never could find my fit. I kind of jumped from group to group, really never had an identity, and just made a lot of bad choices, ended up dropping out of school. But the main place that really accepted me for who I was and also led me on a very rough path was the kitchen. I started cooking about 17 and really just I loved it. I loved the chaos. I loved the energy. I loved the whole I guess is kind of dorky as it sounds, the debauchery of everything.
Mm.
You know, and that also really really exploded my drug career. You know, my drinking too. Um, the first kitchen I worked in, everybody drank, everybody did drugs. You know, we would stay out all night, be there early in the morning, still drunk from the night before, and it just it made everything worse for me. And I was really big into painkillers and stuff like that, eventually leading all the way to heroin. And the turning point, and really when I tried to start into recovery, was at 22. I attempted suicide and landed in my first rehab. And after that, I couldn't string more than like 2 months of sobriety together. You know, it wasn't clicking. I didn't like it. I felt like a lost cause. And every year after that, I ended up in rehab. And last March 2nd of 2020, I ended up in rehab for the fourth time. The year before that, I actually managed to string together a year of sobriety. And about month 10, everything kind of fell apart. Like I wasn't working a program or anything. I just wasn't drinking or using. And so 2 weeks after I hit that year, I relapsed and went on a bender. And then March, I ended up in rehab again. And after getting out of rehab, I had nothing. I had a duffel bag of clothes, a pack of cigarettes, and a few other items. Like I lost my car, I lost my house, my marriage fell apart. Oh, I guess I should back up. When I turned 18, I married my high school sweetheart, and it was a very, very toxic, very destructive relationship, and that fell apart this last time in rehab, and ironically was probably the best thing for my recovery and helped me get to the position I'm in now. So when I got out of rehab, uh, it was right the the day after I got out of rehab is right when Michigan went into lockdown.
Mm.
So literally another great thing for my recovery. All I had to do was sit on my grandma's couch and do Zoom meetings all day, every day. That's all I did was Zoom meetings and telephone therapy sessions. And, you know, it's all through this, it was just these train wreck jobs of bouncing in and out of kitchens, not holding anything together. And it was just, my life was a nightmare. And now I got 22 months of sobriety. I'm a sous chef at a golf course in South Haven. It's awesome. I'm a father to two beautiful kids. I have a great fiance. My life is just it's pretty awesome right now.
That is so nice to hear. Can I ask you a couple questions
Yeah, of
about
course.
part of your story? Is it an okay time to pause
Yeah,
for
yeah,
that?
go for it.
Um, when and this is I mean, this is a tough question. Was the attempted suicide, was it like an intentional overdose that you tried,
No,
or
I
okay?
actually I cut my wrists.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
A lot of people listening, and you do now too, know my story and the
Mm-hmm.
loss of my daughter. And
Yep.
I often wonder if the overdose was really just a suicide.
Yeah.
Because she crushed up fentanyl and snorted it.
Yep.
And it makes me wonder.
Yeah.
So thank you for answering that like
Mm-hmm.
that. And sorry to ask.
No, like I said before, like everything in my life is pretty open. I've
And
gotten to a point where I don't want to hide anything back because I don't know what can help or reach someone.
And then the other thing is, do you have thoughts, advice, anything like that for why do you think people lapse or relapse while they're in recovery? And I'm sure it's a plethora of things,
Um,
but do you know what it was for you? Maybe.
I just I it was a multiple things. Like I was never comfortable, with that. I guess everything became in recovery. Everything started to get calm. The chaos disappeared. I had to deal with my emotions. I had to be a person. I had to feel. I had to do a lot of stuff that just like in those not I didn't have a good foundation in my recovery during these points where it was just I didn't know how to deal with that stuff. I was an angry person. I held a lot of my emotions in. I I was just pissed off and I didn't want to feel and I didn't want to be present. And it took a long time to get comfortable with that. And
People
I know that's for me, that's my reasons for relapsing.
people will probably often say, "Oh man, you made it a year and a half, or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
What happened, and it's probably not that spark that everyone's looking for. It's probably the
Yeah, a lot of
yeah.
people call it a prelapse,
Mm.
where it was like I said, it was like month 10. I gave up my chairing a meeting. I stopped going to meetings. I stopped taking my medication. I stopped reaching out to my sponsor and talking to those people. Like I just isolated myself. I did exactly what I did when I was using and drinking without the alcohol and drugs.
And then they slipped in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But now you're a sous chef,
Oh
and
yeah.
now
Yep.
do you? What's different this time?
Um I'm just comfortable. I have a healthy relationship. I'm able to communicate most of the time about how I'm doing. You know, I have a lot more in my toolbox when it comes to recovery to be a functioning member of society. And before I didn't.
Yeah. Do um. Oh, what was I going to say? I'm sorry, I lost track for a second because I thought about another thing. It's we do.
You're cutting out.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yep, yep.
Okay, sorry about that. Julia said, "Hey, Trey." By the
Hey,
way,
Julia.
she's upstairs, probably watching, listening from up there.
Yeah.
Um, so Julia, Punks with Lunch, and
Hmm.
the Lansing Syringe program, which I think is kind of shut down. Lifeboat up here. We all kind of work together. We've got probably the mobile clinics left by now, and there's we deal with a lot of stigma,
Hmm.
right? And
Yes.
what that means, and you must be this bad kid that's from here, or maybe
Yeah.
probably people look at you and say, well, you don't look like an addict, and I don't like that. I don't love that word
Hmm.
unless it's in a certain place,
Hmm.
but you don't look like you have substance use disorder. You don't. What are your thoughts on stigma and all of that?
Dude, when I first came into AA and NA when I was 22, and a lot of people have said the same thing going to those meetings. I thought I didn't need to be there because I didn't think I had a problem. I wasn't living under a bridge. I wasn't dirty. I had jobs. Like, in my head, I didn't have a problem. I wasn't an addict. I like to have fun. I was in my 20s. And then I tell it all the time. I had such a warped sense of what an addict was that I was drinking every day at 8 in the morning. I was doing opiates and heroin and stuff, but I wasn't an addict because I didn't smoke crack. That was literally my basis. It makes no sense whatsoever, but that was my warped sense of thinking.
Yeah,
And yeah, like I have been guilty of that stigma of what an addict was, and it took me being around these amazing people and people that these old timers in AA and stuff, like, literally took me under their wing. And no matter how many times I fucked up and screwed up and relapsed, they were always there for me. Like, you can't tell me that alcoholics are these awful people and stuff like that, when it's like, they didn't know who I was. They just knew I was some dumb kid that was in way over my head with my addiction.
Yeah.
And just they never gave up on me. They always looked after me.
Do you have, as part of the strength of your kind of position to be in recovery and succeed, do you have a lot more friends or connections or meetings that are more meaningful? We always say that connection is the opposite of addiction.
Yes.
Or connection's really the opposite of anything bad, in my opinion.
Yeah. I definitely am able to communicate more and give back more to recovery than I was in the past. Like, I, even when I relapsed and stuff, I always, like, went to meetings and I'd be completely trashed at meetings and stuff like that. And no help whatsoever, not being able to give back or be that person to call when someone needed help or anything. I literally went to meetings and that was it. Like, I wasn't a part of social media groups and stuff like that like I am now. I didn't share as much as I do now about it, and it's just it's good to be in the position I am now.
Were any of your meetings court ordered?
No. Thankfully, that is the one area I never got into, was any legal trouble because of my addictions.
That's great. Because I know sometimes when it's court ordered, it's hard to take it serious. It's hard to, you're going through the motions. You're getting that sheet signed and getting out of there.
Yep. That's like when I chair my meeting, like, I hold on to their sign-in sheets until the very end of the meeting.
Yeah.
Because like, I've had friends who just get that, they got the paper signed and just, they dipped right as they got it back.
Yeah. So what am I forgetting to ask you, or what are we missing from the story? What kind of food do you make, man? Let's talk about you, the human.
Yeah, I work at a golf course. We make, just a second.
Oh, no problem.
Never mind. My fiance is gonna hold it while I open the bottle. We like to say is we make hoity-toity food. We make super fancy, stereotypical, high-end food. We get fresh fish in. We get the best steaks. I love it. It's my this coming spring, it's gonna be my 5th year there, and I love it. I love being able to just, like, cook all this super expensive stuff that I couldn't get my hands on if I wanted to cook it.
Is it still a year-round restaurant, even though it's a golf course?
It used to be we would close every day during the winter except Friday and Saturday. But once this whole COVID thing, we just shut down completely. So, but it's nice. I get to spend more time with kids, get to spend more time with family. So it's cool.
Do you still do a lot of cooking at home? And
no,
I'm sure it's not lobster and fish and
dude,
steaks every night.
Outside of the restaurant, I love trash food.
Okay.
I love frozen pizza. I love all that stuff. That's my jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you gone to school or anything, or
No.
just learned in the kitchen?
Just I literally only reason I got into the kitchen or cooking at all was because I was a high school dropout. I was broke and I could not get a job anywhere else but a kitchen.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself? Or do you want to be like a master chef and on those
I
cooking shows?
honestly like this past couple years, like uh I don't know. For the longest time I wanted to do that, but at the same time, like now I really want to do more with the recovery community
Okay.
and get into stuff like that. But like I'm at this like tipping point where it's like it's scared to make that leap into anything else because literally my entire resume is just cooking.
Yeah.
So it's a terrifying thought to that not be what I do.
Yeah.
But like
It's too
it's
bad you can't put the recovery part in your resume, because that's a skill set that
yeah,
everybody
exactly.
needs to have.
Yep. And it's just it's having a family and stuff like that. The kitchens a lot more has been put into perspective. Like around here there's not really an end game. You don't get insurance, there's no retirement plan. So it's just like I work nights, I work holidays, I work weekends, you know, I work 10, 12-hour shifts. It's I come from a you know, middle class home where both my parents worked and all that stuff. So I I want to be there for like everything for my kids. You know, my parents did the best they could. Um, and my dad was always very invested in everything I did, and so I want to be that parent too. And so, and the kitchen makes it hard to do that.
Is it they're coming home from school or whatever? I mean, they're
Mm-hmm.
young still,
Yep.
but and then you're going to work, and so
Yeah,
they
I'm usually I take Delilah to school pretty much every morning. That's my what I do, and that's my time to spend with her. But no, I'm gone before she even gets home from school.
yeah.
I usually during the summer I usually leave for work about between 11:30 and 12, and then I get home about 10:30, 11 at night.
I grew up a kid like that too. My
Mm-hmm.
my mother was in the service industry, and
Yeah.
yeah. So back to recovery, and back to your
Mm-hmm.
journey towards recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what what do you think the biggest challenge you have ahead of you is right now? Is there something that's still a gap a little bit that you're working on,
Uh,
or
mine is just balancing life right now, and getting over the hard days.
mm,
You know, because I still get into that like mopey, pouty. Like when I'm having a bad day, it's like I don't want to go to a meeting. I don't want to deal with any of this. I just want to be mad and complain. And that's a big thing. You know, getting to and everything's not so huge in recovery anymore either. You know, I'm focusing more on life and stuff like that. Like, you know, that first year, it's like you get a coin every month and everything's this whole big thing. And now it's like, okay, I got this basis. Now I need to re enter life. I kind of need to do my thing. So it's just getting used to, because I've been in recovery since 2015, you know, and for the first time, I'm actually like in uncharted waters
yeah,
where it was like I always knew what to do that first year. It was like I just needed to tweak it enough to get it to this far. Now I'm like, okay, I'm this far. What the fuck do I do?
yeah. So
So
is it scary? I
it
mean,
is. It's exciting and it's terrifying, but like every day it's amazing because I did not think I would ever be here.
is there
Good.
something that the recovery community or the community in general could be doing better for people that are in uncharted waters? Because now I'm getting, I mean, that was a scary statement when you said it to me.
Yeah, no, it's hey, with the recovery community is what I've noticed, and this is just speaking of my experience and stuff, is we're all stubborn, we're all hard headed, we don't like being told what to do. So it's just when it comes to recovery, for me, it was just a waiting game. It was just letting me figure my shit out and like what I needed to do. So it's I I will take everybody's advice, but like there's always just that little bit of me that hasn't quite figured it out. Like I don't know everything and I'm not the smartest, and so I just need to take advice, and a lot of the time I'm really bad at that. So everybody in the recovery community does as much as they can, because we're all in the same boat. Like, there are the ones that have the degree and the recovery coaches and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, even those people, they're just recovering addicts or alcoholics. Like, all we can do is be like, hey, I've been there and this is what I did. Take it or leave it. And just everything. I just have to keep talking to people in recovery. Like, and that's as best I can do.
Let me ask you one last thing here.
All right.
There are a lot of family members and friends who come to me for advice. I'm sure come to Julia for advice. I've got my child's doing this or whatever. What advice would you give a parent, let's say, on how they could help along the journey the best, or what not to do?
Well, enabling, of course, which is, it's hard to do when it's your family and friends and stuff like that. You want to help them, but as a addict, I was a liar and manipulator and a thief. I would get my priority was get money for my fix. So that's a hard thing to accept, is the enabling and your part in their addiction. And the frustration, like for me, like I said, it took me 4 times in rehab, numerous relapses. This isn't nothing about recovery is permanent. My life could flip completely upside down tomorrow and I could be square one, exactly where I was today. I mean, when I started this. So that thing that's frustrating you here, where it's like relapses are part of recovery, it's true for a lot of us. So that's a hard pill to swallow, and see your loved ones struggle and fail and fall over and over again. But like, nothing you can do as a person is going to get that person to put down whatever they're using until they want to. Like, they could love their kids immensely and love their family immensely and all that, but that drug and alcohol sometimes is more powerful than that. Right. So you just gotta, it's fucked up, but like, you just gotta be there and hope it clicks. And it's hard to say, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But there is nothing in their power they can do to get them to put down that drug or drink. So they just have to be as supportive as they can without enabling.
I love it. Can I show you something here? Julia has a comment that you can read later. But,
okay.
Tyler said, I needed this. Thanks, Trey. And thanks, Dave, for inviting me to watch.
Yeah. I'm glad that it reached someone. That's all I want to do when it comes to stuff like this.
So as we wrap up here,
Mhm.
is there anything you'd like to end with?
Just if you need help, just reach out. Like addiction and all that, it does not discriminate, and you're not alone. You know this. If you're struggling, don't be ashamed of that. Like this addiction's a hard fucking thing, you know, and trying to do it by yourself it's a very lonely and hard road, and you don't need to do that. There are so many people out there that want to help and want to be supportive because they were in that same position. They didn't feel they could reach out. They thought they were, I guess they thought they were special. They were unique, and they're not. You know, addiction, it doesn't matter who you are. Like somebody's been through what you're going through, and that's, you got to accept that, and you need to reach out. You can, my inbox and stuff is always open. I'm always happy to help people. You can look me up on Facebook or Instagram. It's just look up Tre Covey and you'll find my stuff. Just reach out. That's the biggest thing. Don't try to do this by yourself.
And I'll come in later and put a couple links to your
Yep.
Instagram and your Facebook and all
Okay.
of that. Okay.
Yep.
Tre, much love to you.
Yeah. Thanks. I really appreciate being a part of this.
I appreciate you telling your story and being so authentic and open about it.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
All right, everyone. That's a wrap. Stick with me for a second, Tre. I'm just going to take us off air. We love y'all. Reach out to us. Reach out to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tough love your way out of this. Parents, just be there. I love the advice, Tre.
Yep.
Just be